and welcome to Morning Trade with Moneycontrol. I'm Nandita Khemka and I'm here to help you navigate the trading day with actionable trading strategies, sectoral trends and most importantly your queries during the course of the show. So guys, keep commenting on our live feed and we'll have them addressed by our guest on the show. But before bringing him on board, let's see what the global handover is looking like this morning. Well, most Asian markets except Japan and China shut for holiday season. The Nikkei trades with gains for the Indian market. SGX Nifty is signalling a mildly positive start. Well, Wall Street ended higher on Friday but posted a weekly loss as recession fears continue to batter investor sentiment. Meanwhile, European markets ended the week on a flattish note as hopes of a Santa Claus rally have faded. And markets saw a deep cut on Friday with both the Nifty and Sensex shutting shop at 2-month lows. Should we brace for more pain in the last week of 2022? And stocks in the spotlight today are Suven Pharma, Tata Motors, Siemens and Infibeam. Well, let us get going and discuss stocks that are likely to be in the spotlight as well as the trade setup for today with Hemen Kapadia of KR Choksey Securities. Good morning, Hemen. Good to have you on the show. Well, SGX Nifty is hinting at a mildly positive start for the Indian markets. But on Friday, we saw such a deep cut, Sensex shedding somewhere around 1,000 points and the Nifty also shutting shop below that 17,850 level. So a lot of these support levels have been broken on the index. How is the setup looking like for today and for the last week of 2022?
A very good morning to you, Nandita. Thank you for having me on the show. I think you hit the nail on the head. Levels didn't break, they've been obliterated, so to speak. And the concern more has been on the mid-cap and small-cap front, Nandita. They've got really badly battered in the last 3 days. Probably, last couple of months of gain has been wiped out. But okay, FI selling hasn't been that severe, and Friday, if you see, DIs bought quite a lot. Look at France, Germany, US, they haven't fallen off a cliff like we have. Okay, crude looks like going up. VIX over year has gone up, volatility index, so that is the cause for concern. But somehow we were standing out as a lot of a big resilient market. Now it seems to have turned the other way. Frankly speaking, Bank Nifty was holding up the whole the positive structure. Now that's walked into a correction. So because of that, and with Reliance and IT under pressure and Bank Nifty giving way, I guess a correction which was round the corner has finally happened, and it has been a bit more severe than expected. The setup has gone for a toss, and now we have the end of a long monthly expiry this week, Nandita. So frankly speaking, that's only going to add to the chaos and mayhem. We are oversold, but levels have been broken. One would have to take things with a pinch of salt. So currently things are not looking good, but then with the expiry week, I think the market has a propensity to surprise, Nandita.
Sure. Hemen, do you expect levels of 17,400 or some thereabouts, given the fact that a lot of these support levels have been broken, as you mentioned?
That's a question which is difficult to answer, and I hoped you wouldn't ask, Nandita. But nevertheless, 17,792 is support. We just sort of hung in over there. The next level comes in at 17,613 and 17,430. So coming back to your question, it is a technical possibility. I would not rule that out. Slightly remote, but a possibility nevertheless.
Right. Hemen, also want to get in a question on the PSU banking pack. The index saw somewhere cuts to the tune of 6% or so on Friday. Do you think now, after the kind of run-up that we saw in some of the counters, do you think now it may be a good time to actually buy these counters?
If you want to buy them, I suggest on a piecemeal basis, Nandita, because frankly speaking, out of years, after almost years in wilderness, the Nifty PSU bank index shot through the roof. And very interestingly, Nandita, the all-time high was 4640 somewhere in 2012 or 13. And almost 10 years later, we've come back to almost the same level. We posted a high of 4617. So we walked into a correction of a greater degree. And yes, if you were to cherry pick, I would suggest not go the whole hog. I would say in bits and pieces. My preference would be State Bank, Can Bank and BOB in that order for PSU banks. Only on decline, Nandita.
Right, State Bank, Can Bank and BOB in that order. Let's also talk some stock-specific action now. Suven Pharma is in focus this morning. Advent is set to buy the firm for 6,300 crore rupees. In fact, it's supposed to buy 51% of promoter stake in the company and, of course, launch open offer for additional 26% stake. Well, the stock did see a near 5% rally on Friday in a weakish market. How does the chart look like for you going forward?
Okay, it's event-driven, Nandita. So currently things are looking hunky-dory. Higher tops, higher bottoms. Indicators, the mechanical indicators are in a crossover buy. Volumes have gone up. It's quoting about the 55-day exponential moving average. Simply put, on the short term, it looks positive. Weekly also, we seem to have entered an intermediate uptrend, but the swing high was 506 during the weekend at 2nd September, and we've gone to 506 exactly in the last week. So this could prove to be a little bit of an impediment.
Right. Saurabh Shirsagar had actually asked a query on this stock. I hope his query is answered now. Going forward, next counter that will be in focus today will be Siemens. It has won a contract from Indian Railways, which is somewhere around 26,000 crore rupees. How does the stock look like on the charts, Hemen?
Oh, we've walked into an intermediate correction, Nandita. Well, not very surprising. Over the last couple of years, it's moved from 950 to 3150 almost. And this is the fourth month in a row, Nandita, that we remain ensconced in a range. The range is roughly between 3050 on the upside and 2675 on the downside. So maybe there could be a knee-jerk reaction to it. But after 4 months of doing nothing, I don't think this is going to be a deal breaker or a deal maker as far as charts are concerned, unless and until we take out the higher or the lower low, either ways, Nandita, of the range.
Sure. Hemen, last time I spoke to you about Tata Motors, you weren't very bullish on the counter, at least for the short term. The company has bagged an order from Delhi Transport Corporation to supply and maintain 1,500 electric buses. Given the fact that the shares haven't really done much on a 6-month basis, would you now change your view on the stock, or is it the same? Avoid the stock for the short to medium term, but you can actually go ahead and buy it for the long term?
Well, frankly speaking, you answer the question yourself, Nandita. I'd say avoid it on the short and medium term. Long term, yes. We were at 440 when we spoke last time. I mean, proximity of 440, Nandita. Looking at everything, one would have thought that a close above 440 would give it almost 8 to 10% upside. Now, after 4 weeks of struggling or trying to work on 440, now it's gone the other way and it's broken the support of 390 on the downside. So yes, short to medium term avoid. If you have a longer term point of view, at lower level chase, it remains a buy, but only if you have a 18 or a 24-month point of view and on declines only, Nandita.
Sure, Hemen. The next stock on my list is Infibeam Avenues. It has got perpetual license from RBI for its bill payments business. Now, if you look at the stock, on Friday, it shaved off somewhere around 12%. And I think over the last 5 days, it has seen a downtick of somewhere around 24% or thereabouts. More pain ahead going for this counter?
Well, yes, frankly speaking, okay, the month hasn't ended, Nandita, but if we close at these levels, it would mean a downward bar reversal on the monthly chart. That isn't a good thing. 20.3035 was the swing high posted a couple of months back. We've come back to that same level and reverse direction. But mid caps and small caps have fallen off a cliff, so I don't think there's an exception. But yes, I guess the trouble would start when it closes below 13.25 on the monthly chart. I think then that would be a sign of weakness. Currently, it seems like the market has had a severe correction in small stocks. I guess that's what has happened.
Sure, severe correction in small cap-ish stocks. Let's talk about NDTV. Adani's will now be owning somewhere around 65% in the company after promoters have decided to sell their stake. Now, if you look at the counter, over the last 6 months, it has nearly doubled. given the fact that media shares have actually come under a lot of pressure over the last few weeks, do you expect this counter to be a stock which will be bucking the trend going forward?
Well, Nandita, like you said, it's bucked the trend already when media stocks were under pressure. I believe this is already in the price. I mean, we saw a humongous move over the last couple of years from a low of 20 to 570. It's been an amazing multi-bagger. So somewhere, I think this is already in the price. 310 to 470 has been a large range over the last 2.5, 3 months, Nandita. I don't think this announcement is going to change that either ways.
Right. Next stock on my list is Alkem Labs. 8 Roads Venture F Prime Capital to buy stake in a subsidiary of the company, and the transaction will be completed by January next year, which is just about a month ahead. And this stake sale will be fetching somewhere around 160 crore rupees or thereabouts. If you look at the stock on a 6-month basis, it hasn't really done much. And Friday, it lost somewhere around 1.5% or so. How is the setup looking like for this counter, Alkem Labs?
Well, frankly speaking, under the last 16 months, it's gone nowhere. We've been posting lower tops, lower bottoms. So this is the 16th month. So no, we've gone nowhere. And if I were to break it up further, over the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, over the last 8 months or so, we've been even in a tighter range between 3,400 on the downside and 2,820 on the downside. So I don't think anything changes. There's a downward slanting supply line, which comes in at 3,250. So we're at 3,030, so that's what, 7-8% away. Only if that gets taken out from a weekly closing point of view, does it materially change anything? 2,984 is support. If that cracks, 2,850. So we've been corrective over the last 16 months, and I don't think this is going to alter anything dramatically unless we take out 3,259.
Sure. Moving on to Gateway Distriparks. Now, this company has bought a 99% stake. In fact, has bought over Kashipur Infra for as much as 145 crore rupees. If you look at the stock, it has been in a downtrend over the last 1 month. Do you expect this stock to fall below 60 rupees or thereabouts?
Well, like you said, it seems a bit wobbly, no doubt, Nandita. And firstly, I don't have too much of data since there's been, there hasn't been too much of data to take a call on, but whatever data I have, we posted a fresh low, and if it sustains below 64.50, Nandita, I think further downside seems to be a cinch.
Sure. Before we move on to our queries segment, I have to speak about this stock called SJVN. It has won a wind power project of 100 megawatts. How does the stock look on the charts, Hemen, SJVN, to you?
Well, for years it did nothing, and suddenly these PSUs have now attained Navratna status from the stock market point of view. Once again, it's seen a very sharp decline from 42.5 almost to sub 32 in a matter of 3 weeks. So the setup has obviously been spoiled, but then I guess that's the case with most of the mid caps and small caps. Support comes in at 31. That's where I think the downside should be capped, at least for the time being. We posted a fresh all-time high in the current month, and Nandita, we're down 20% and more in the same month. So it seems a bit wobbly. And yes, 31, if it holds, I think then we see stability coming in, a possibility of a base formation.
Sure. Let's now move on to our queries segment. First query is coming in from Satya CK, and he wants to know your views on Zomato. Now, on Friday, it shed 8%. It is well below the 60 rupee mark. Where do you expect this counter to head? It has, of course, seen quite a bit of pain ever since it listed over the last 1 year or so. How do you expect the company to do going into the new year?
Well, a lighter note always said one should order from Zomato rather than investing. But since listing, we've seen it come off significantly. A bounce which promised a lot, Nandita, has fizzled out. in terms of levels, resistance comes in at 61, 50 and 75. 50 has been important, followed by 40. So, no, whatever positives, technical positives were there in the price have now been washed away, but that is on the daily chart. The weekly picture also looks extremely dicey. If we see a close below 50 next Friday, I think a fresh all-time highs low is in the offing, but only on a weekly close below 50. Doesn't look good, the bounces fizzled out.
Sure. Next one, let's move on to a query on HCL Tech. The IT pack has been, in fact, doing a little better than the rest of the market over the last 4 to 5 sessions. In fact, HCL Tech was down just about 0.5% or thereabouts on Friday, on a day when the Sensex tumbled nearly 1,000 points. How does the counter look for today? Do you expect these IT companies to continue to buck the trend at this juncture?
Selectively, yes, Nandita. Very, very valid question. I think Infosys, HCL Tech, LTTH, LTI, ILTI, they've been sort of much more resilient than the mid caps, maybe like an Emphasis or, even a Wipro for that matter. So some of the stocks have done decently, if not well. And HCL Tech is amongst them. 1010 is not double bottom, but a level where support comes in. So I don't expect anything much, but yeah, I expect it to not go down that much in case of the market declines further.
Sure, Hemen. Next query, let's take up a query on Tanla Platforms. Rajesh Rajagopal has written in and he wants to know, he holds in fact shares at 825 rupees. He wants to know whether he should be holding the counter or exiting it at current levels.
I would say sell now and buy later, but I'm not sure such trading advice should be, sort of offered to an investor. Frankly speaking, we've spent 4.5 months, Nandita, trying to give a decent pullback, and now that has run out of steam, so to speak. We're almost close to breaking 600, and I guess that would take it to 450. So unless he's got a longer term point of view, I think it would be prudent to book loss for the time being, Nandita.
Well, book loss on the counter is the call from Hemen. Next query is coming in on Praj Industries. Now, this counter is down about 10% over the last 5 sessions. Naveen has written in and he wants to know what he should be doing with this counter.
2-year holding, hold, anything less, sell on bounce, because 461 was one level. The way it moved, one would have thought that it's taking out 461 and going to 600 odd. Now that's not happened. It's gone the other way, and Praj has come under pressure even before the mid-cap, small-cap sell-off started, Nandita. So, yes, if I look at the monthly chart, the oscillator seems to suggest that the move from 40 to 460, a 10x stock, is now over for the time being. 290 is on the horizon from a medium-term point of view. No, I think it's going to be under pressure. Sell on bounce.
Sure. Next query is coming in from Vish KL and he has a query on Make Money Organics. Now this counter has been in a downtrend, but it is holding that 100 rupee mark. He wants to know the short-term prospects of the stock. Do you expect the counter to slip below 100 rupees going forward?
Yes, once again, paucity of data, so inability to take a medium-term point of view, Nandita, but with whatever data that we have, yes, I think you put it correctly. We're set to test the 100 level. Just before 100, there's support at 1020, but no, technically nothing seems good at the moment.
Well, lots of queries coming in on the pharma basket. Dinesh Kumar wants to know your views on Abbott India. Now, this stock has been in a fair bit of an uptrend over the last 1 month. It has given returns to the tune of 9% or so. Do you, of course, expect this company to do well along with the pharma pack going forward?
Well, normally pharma, FMCG, and last couple of years, IT have been defensives. Now, IT has retreated, so to speak. So it's left to FMCG and pharma to be defensives. Medium-term point of view, the setup is quite positive, Nandita. But 21,870 is the weekly resistance level. We've closed above that only once, despite it going to almost 24,000. But it's closed about 21,870 only once in its entire history. And we've sort of just come to that level. So I would be positive. The setup is good. Buying fresh, I don't think so. We've had a nice run up, but we'll have to see if it takes out 21,870 to go to 23,934. Setup seems positive in an extremely shaky market, Nandita.
Well, set up for these pharma companies and Abbott in particular looking positive in an extremely shaky market. Next query is coming in on IRCTC. We have a query from Dudhabhai Sakaria, and he holds 1,000 shares at the rate of 920 rupees. He wants to know whether he should hold or exit. He's a long-term investor. But looking at the counter, where it is right now, he is making quite a bit of a loss on this one. What should he do going forward?
Well, currently, the chart setup doesn't seem to be providing any confidence, Nandita. We spent almost 4 months trying to take out 750. Frankly speaking, at that point, even I thought this was a 900 rupee stock. Looked great, high tops, high bottoms, everything was hunky-dory. And then it started weakening, and then we got this OFS. So 639 is broken. Unless we sustain about 639, Nandita, we are going towards 550. So simple answer, I think unless it's a very long-term investor, answer would be sell on blocks.
Sure. Let's take up a last query for today. It's coming in on Coal India. Baljeet Singh has written in. He wants to know your views on this one. Even this stock has not been doing all that well over the last 1 month or so. It has given negative returns. How does the setup look for this one, Hemen, Coal India?
Well, first time after listing, we saw such a move. But recently, I think the setup has got spoiled thanks to that 15 rupee dividend, Nandita. Because of that, we've seen a gap down, obviously. It was ex-dividend. And we've seen levels break and stocks come under pressure. 213 is important support. Doesn't look that convincing. Oversold, yes. But yeah, there is some resilience vis-a-vis the rest of the market, but not looking very positive. 213 followed by 198 are two support levels where I keep my eye on.
Well, 213 and 198 are the two support levels on Coal India, as pointed out by Hemen. With that, this is a wrap on the queries segment. But Hemen, before we let you go, do leave us with two of your stock picks for today.
Well, frankly speaking, it's a catch-22 situation, Nandita. I think it's too early to buy and too late to sell, but nevertheless, firstly, there is a sell call on Britannia. Brilliant outperformance. I believe now it's sort of taking a breather. Indicators sell, negative divergence by oscillators. It's a conditional sell call on a small bounce. Sell Britannia at 43.50, stop loss 4400, target 42.50. Secondly is a buy call. This is a contra buy call because everything has been sort of come under severe pressure. Infosys has shown some resilience. This is also a conditional buy call on slightly lower levels. One can buy Infosys at 1480, a stop loss 1450, target 1540.
Sure, Britannia and Infosys are two of the counters that Hemen is keeping on his radar. Well, with that, Hemen, thanks a lot for joining in today. And in case we don't get to speak before the New Year's, wish you a very happy and profitable New Year ahead.
Wish you a very happy New Year, Nandita, and all the viewers of Moneycontrol. Hope you have a happy and a very, very prosperous New Year.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for joining in, Hemen. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Morning Trade. But don't go anywhere, because coming up next is a very interesting chat between our consulting editor Mahalakshmi and with the CEO of Julius Baer India. So stay tuned for this conversation. You don't want to miss that.